How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing my 2 weeks with the Motorola Edge 2024.
2 weeks.
So I'm going to be going on over what I like and what I don't like about this device. So most of the stuff is actually really good, but there are some issues that I do have with Motorola, and we're going to go on over that. So thank you guys for joining me here today on Sick Eric Tech. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing and clicking that bell icon that way you don't miss out on future videos, just like the one you're about to watch today. So I did make a list over here on things that I don't like and things that I do like. So first and foremost, we're going to go on over to the display. This device has a big, beautiful display. It's a POLED, supports 1 billion colors. It's 144 hertz, guys. Supports HDR10 Plus, about a peak brightness of 1300 nits, 6.6 inches of goodness here, has a resolution of 1080 by 2400, and a pixel density of 402, covered in Corning Gorilla Glass 3. So that is probably the selling point of this device, is the display. It is beautiful, it gets bright enough, the colors are actually really nice, and that high refresh rate, higher than most of your other devices that you get, at 144 hertz, and you can't force it at 144 hertz. So that's really cool. Most devices are 120, and I think that is really nice. It's a POLED, so the blacks get really dark. It's not an LCD, which Motorola seems to be doing a lot, but they're starting to stray away with AMOLEDs and things like that. So really nice display, probably the selling point of this device. So as far as the build quality, that is another perk of this device. This device is built really nice. I love the eco leather on the back with the aluminum frame. It just gives it a nice classy feel to it, and it feels really nice and grippy in the hand, so you don't really have to have a case. I have not really used a case on this device since I got it. I used a case, but I took it off because I like to feel the device, and actually feels really good. And with this eco leather backing, I feel like I could be a little rough with it and it'll be okay. Obviously, I have not dropped my phone, but still, without a case, it feels really nice. As far as the dimensions go, it is 6.28 inches tall, 2.83 inches wide, and 0.32 inches thin. So it is a very nice, thin, compact phone. The back of the device has curves that go into the metal frame, and it's really light. It only comes in about 6.14 ounces, which is crazy. This is a very light device. The corners are nice and rounded, so they don't dig into your hand, and it has a nice feel. It's narrow, it's not too wide, it's not too tall, at least for my hands, and it's just a really nice and beautiful feeling device. And I can't get over how well Motorola built this thing. So going on over to the cameras of the Motorola Edge 2024. So the cameras are actually really good on here for what you get, and I'm not mad about it. The stabilization has gotten a lot better on Motorola devices. Now, is it perfect? No, it is not, especially in dual capture mode. Their stabilization is just absolutely horrible, but for regular 4K content on the rear-facing camera, at least, the stabilization is actually really good. And as far as the cameras go, they take really good shots. They're nice and saturated. They might be a little too saturated for some people, but the detail is there, and the zoom quality I think is actually really good. So as far as the cameras go, you got a 50 megapixel main sensor with an aperture of f1.8, Does support multi-directional PDIF and has optical image stabilization. You get a 13 megapixel ultra wide on here with an aperture of f2.2 with autofocus, so that's really nice. You can record up to 4K 30 frames per second on the rear. Your front-facing camera is going to be a 32 megapixel shooter, aperture of f2.4 with autofocus as well. Now you can record up to 4K 30 frames per second on the front, so I love to see that. And the hole punch cutout is actually quite small, so that's really nice. And like I said, pictures that come out really nice, lots of detail. As far as nighttime shots go, I have not shot a lot of nighttime shots on here, but the few that I did shoot actually came out pretty well. Daytime shots come out great. Video, like I said, other than that front-facing camera, can be a little jittery when you're recording video with that stabilization, but the rear is actually doing the job really well. And these are perfect cameras for the average person who just wants to get a nice cheap phone with great specs and take some nice shots at the same time as well. So as far as all the settings you get on here, you do get slow motion, you get night vision, you get your video mode, and you get all the way up to, you get full HD and you get 4K, and you can record up to 30 frames per second in 4K, but if you switch it to 60, it's going to switch it to full HD, which is 1080p. And you also get photo, you get portrait, so your photos you're going to be able to crop in about 2 times, and you can go all the way up to 10 times, but again, you're going to lose some quality. But look at that, that's actually not so bad, of 6.3 crop into this dusty ass keyboard, and it actually looks pretty good in my opinion when it comes down to that detail. So it's not too shabby with that zoom and that 50 megapixel camera. You do have portrait, you have 3 different settings. You got full view, you get a wide, and you get a standard to zoom in for that, so that is really good. And let's take a portrait shot of this plant. And here you go for that sampling. A little blurry on the side over here, but not too bad. You also get a pro mode on here for your camera, so you can adjust the white balance, your ISO, and things like that. When you go into mode, you get a whole bunch of different stuff. You get scan, spot color, panorama, ultra res, dual capture for pictures, photo booth, tilt shift, time lapse, spot color for video, and dual capture for video. So the camera is very versatile on here. I think they do really well. So another thing I really do like is the software of Motorola devices. Very stock, clean Android software. You get a lot of functionality on here. When you go into the Moto app right here, you get personalization. You could customize the hell out of your device with different shapes of your icons, colors, themes. You got gestures, which is what Motorola is known for, and the whole karate chop to turn on and off your light, for the switching to go to your camera, for the twist. So yeah, you get a lot of stuff on here, and I love the Motorola keeps doing this for the devices. They keep giving us options with all of these gestures on here, and it's just fantastic. The software is nice and clean, stock Android on here, so that's really nice. No bloatware, at least on this. This is T-Mobile variant other than T-Mobile apps. Very nice when it comes down to the software. Nice and clean and snappy on here for everyday use. So another great thing is going to be the battery life on here. So this is definitely an all-day phone. Compared to some of my other devices, this one actually does really well. And it also has fast charging, 68 watt fast charging. Unfortunately, you do not get that charger in the box, so that is kind of a shame, but I do have a 68 watt charger for my Motorola Edge 30 Fusion. Works fine on here, and it also has 15 watt wireless charging, so that's fantastic for this device at this price range. And battery life definitely all day. I find myself coming home after a days of work and having about 30 to 40% of battery life after an 8-hour day of just streaming music and playing Audible, watching some videos and things like that on 5G network, and coming home and still having some juice and charging this when I go to sleep or go to bed around 10 o'clock or 11 or so. And I'm left with about maybe a little under 20% of battery life until then. So I think that's perfect for me. As long as this thing can last me all day, I'm perfectly fine with the battery life. So audio on here is actually quite good. This does have stereo speakers and it does support Dolby Atmos. You get a lot of different options for your Dolby Atmos. You got spatial audio, Spark audio, you got music, movie, game, podcast, and custom, and you can customize each one of these modes. So that is fan-freaking-tastic. Bluetooth quality actually sounds really good. I always love Motorola's Bluetooth quality. Sounds really nice and clean and loud. Unfortunately, there is no headphone jack, so that is kind of a shame. But as far as the speakers go, let's go ahead and take a listen, shall we? So yeah, I think the speakers actually sound pretty good. Are they the best? No, there's probably some devices that are louder out there, but I think they really do the job and they sound really, really nice. Comment down below on what you think. So now going on over to the dislikes. So the prices can be a little confusing. So when this device came out, it was about $500 on Motorola's website, but you could get it on T-Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile for $299. This is the T-Mobile variant, and I suggest you get it on those carriers if you have T-Mobile or Metro. If you have T-Mobile, you could probably have it unlocked once you do purchase it, so that's another option. But for $500 on Motorola's website, they always do this. They come out the gate at a high price and then they end up lowering it later. $500 might be too much for this device, but at $299, this is a great device for anybody looking for a solid device to be solid, dependable device to make phone calls, go on the internet, and take some shots, and have a really nice display to watch videos on and movies on. So $299 is actually a really good price for this, but the pricing of $500, definitely not, guys. That is way too high for what you're getting here. And I would definitely try to find this for a cheaper price. So as far as the performance of this guy, while being able to do everyday normal tasks at just fine, no problems with this device, but when you push it, that's when I have the issues here. So as far as what we got underneath the hood here, we got the Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 processor on here, and the Adreno 710 GPU. We get 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of internal storage with UFS 2.2. Now, the issues that I do have with this processor, it works fine on everyday usage. No problems, but when I push this device, that's when things start to crap out. As far as editing video on here with Power Director, can't do it whatsoever. I've tried to edit a few videos about this phone on this phone, and it's crapped out. It says not enough memory. There's something up with the RAM management on this device, and it just won't do it. I cannot complete a full video on here. I've tried so many times. I've rebooted the device, cleared everything as far as how many apps I have open, and it can't do it. So there's something up with the RAM management. It's just not that great on this device. When you're playing games and all, you can play the games on here, but it's going to be at a lower frame rate. So keep that in mind. And when you have too many apps open on here, you are going to get a little bit of stutters here and there. So as far as performance goes, I think this processor could be a little better, but it cannot handle your high-end stuff, multitasking, and really hard tasks on the Motorola Edge. And that's kind of a disappointment because it was very frustrating not being able to edit anything or edit my videos on this device. So as far as the software updates, while you do get a nice software experience on how everything looks and runs, as far as the updates go, it's kind of lackluster. You only get 2 years of OS updates and 3 years of security patches. So I think that'll be okay. It'll go to what, 15 and 16, Android 15 and 16. So that's great. But Motorola is not known for their timely updates. I think they're bi-monthly at most, and you're only going to get 3 years of security patches. And this phone will last 3 years, probably last longer. Of course, we all know that you can still use the device without getting security patches, but still, if you want a longer lasting device that's going to be supported, go for a Samsung or a Google, because this one is not going to be supported for that long. And I think Motorola needs to up their game when it comes down to updates. So another thing is going to be a missed opportunity with this quick button over here on the side. Now you can customize it to do and open up a lot of apps on here, but I just think it could have been a little bit more. It could have been a shutter button when you open up your camera. That would have been really, really cool. Could have been a Google Assistant button, maybe. That would have been really, really nice. It's just the functionality over here. It's a nice dot, but I think it could have been executed a little well. When you do the double press on here, it's only confined to ready for actions on here. So that is a little restricting right there. And as far as everything else goes, play, pause, music, recorder, screen recorder, all of these stuff work okay. I just think the button could have been utilized a little bit better on here with a little bit more quick actions, like turning on your flashlight. You can't even set it for that, so you're gonna have to do the gesture. But it would have been nice if you could just push your button and turn on your flashlight. That would have been really, really cool. So another thing is going to be no always on display. So Motorola needs to stop from this whole peak display thing that they got when you touch your device, and then it'll go off in a couple of seconds. We need always on displays on Motorola devices. That is just a thing that needs to be done. This whole peak display just needs to go. We need always on displays. So Motorola, if you're listening, change that and give us AOD. So while this device does look nice and feel good in the hand, there is only one color. That is kind of a shame. We only get this gray color on here. I believe it's midnight blue or black or whatever the hell color it is. A lot more colors or different color options would have been really nice on here, like a red or a tan color. That would have been really nice, like the tan color that comes with the G Stylus. That would have been really good. And that crimson red. So more color options would have been really good for this device, just to sell it and pique people's interest when it comes down to colors. The more colors you got on a smartphone, people are going to go ooh, ah, and like to choose their colors. So another thing, no expandable storage or headphone jack on here. So you do get your SIM card here at the bottom, but no micro SD card support to expand your storage. 256 gigabytes is well enough for me, but if you wanted expandable storage, you do not have it here, and you do not get no headphone jack. While you do get headphone jacks on other Motorola devices, this one does not offer that, and some people may not like that. That's a deal breaker to some people, so keep that in mind. Another thing I mentioned earlier is no charger in the box. Got a cat over here playing with a toy. No charger comes in the box of this device. Again, 68 watts charging. Not everyone is going to have a 68 watt charger lying around their house, which means they got to go buy one, probably from Motorola, and that's another cost added to it. So would have been nice if they included that charger in the box so you could take advantage of that full speed of charging. And last on the list is going to be your data speeds and the signal. So this device kind of crappy, especially even on T-Mobile. This is a T-Mobile device, and even on T-Mobile, it's not that great. I find myself at work with already a bad signal. All my other devices doing great. This one keeps going in and out on 5G. Keep that in mind. And it's just horrible. It takes a little while to load on YouTube. Websites take a little while to load. Sometimes the 5G goes out when it's switching between LTE and 5G. And that can be annoying because that takes a little while to switch from LTE to 5G, at least a couple seconds. So you're left without no connection and just loading until that switch occurs. And then you're able to, watch videos and things like that. So yeah, the connection on here and the signal, not the greatest, especially this is the T-Mobile device, guys, and it's not running great on T-Mobile, so that's kind of a shame and kind of looks bad for T-Mobile as well. But the signal on here, while it does do okay, it's just not as great as some of my other devices. All right, so today's fun fact is that back in the day in 1983, Motorola came out with the Motorola Dynatac 8000X, the first portable smartphone that cost almost $4,000. $3,995 this phone cost back in 1983. Here's your fun fact for today, and it's Motorola. It has to do with the phone you're watching today. There you go. So hopefully you guys found this video useful. That has been my likes and dislikes 2 weeks with the Motorola Edge 2024. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time here on the channel. Peace.